hydration today. Hydration is something we've talked about extensively, but it's always a great reminder to make sure that we keep ourselves well lubricated. We keep ourselves from hitting those detrimental effects of underhydration or even dehydration, all right? So understanding, first of all, what hydrating fluids are is gonna be helpful. I think we understand that water, seltzer, tea, all of those can end up being hydrated. Also things like coffee. Well, we understand that there is a diuretic effect from the caffeine that's going to be in coffee and also in tea. But the overall net effect tends to be positive, and that actually keeps us hydrated. Diet drinks can also step in and support hydration as well. What we don't want to do is be adding a lot of sugary beverages in there, because that's only going to kind of hinder our overall health goals. So we want to make sure that we're keeping things lower calorie just in that overall respect. There is a place for things like, say, sports drinks, Gatorade, Powerade, any of those, that can end up helping us make sure that we're replacing anything that we really burn through in very extreme environments. But understanding kind of what those beverages are, I think is going to be important. Then I think making sure that we understand how much to take in is going to be great as well. A very general rule of thumb can be just making sure that you're doing half of your body weight in ounces of water. Body weight divided by 2 equals how many ounces do you need a day. And that's what you can definitely focus on to make sure that you're getting enough. You can also just take the general recommendation of probably between 80 and 100 ounces of water per day. So that 80 to 100 ounces is probably going to help just make sure that we're keeping your body lubricated, we're keeping your digestion well, we're making sure that that medium that really helps everything digest and metabolize, that's going to be within your body. What I would also make sure is that you come up with a hydration schedule. Hydration schedules are really important because I think it's something that can develop a habit, and habits are what really make us successful over time, because we are going to be at a point where maybe we don't really want to be drinking water all the time, right? We always say drink water early and often. But at the same time, we might not be driven to do it, but reminding ourselves can be helpful so that we don't get dehydrated. So a hydration schedule can be as simple as, and you can follow mine, where I try to make sure that before starting work in the day, that I'm going to be drinking about 32 ounces. Before lunch, I'm going to try and finish another 32 ounces. And then finally, before dinner, I'm going to try and finish my third. Now, the other thing when someone is very active, you do want to make sure that maybe you're replacing about 16 ounces for every pound lost. And so start with your 80 to 100 ounces. Then you can make sure that if you end up knowing exactly where you're at with your overall weight before and after a workout, you can definitely make sure that you know how much more to take in. Now personally, I can lose about 3 pounds in about 45 minutes in a very intense, high intensity environment. And so that would be something where I'm going to work in about another 1.5 liters. And that's something we can kind of shoot for about 2 hours after, or at least get it in within 2 hours after. Urine should be cleared by then. But keep it simple. 80 to 100 ounces, get your hydration schedule set, and I think you're going to be good. But what are some signs of actually dehydration? So dehydration is going to be something where we're going to feel thirst, right? We're going to have dry mouth. We can see our heart rate increase, and if our heart rate is already increased for other reasons, it's only going to be a detriment. We could have dry skin. We could have fatigue. We could have muscle weakness. So all those things we want to make sure that we're not getting to. Now, a lot of my clients are very active, and if any of those things start to come in, that could be a really big issue. We could also feel tired. We can have just brain fatigue, right? And so one thing in particular from the Yale School of Medicine, they were looking at a study trying to understand how hydration is really going to affect people or their cognitive flexibility, just their ability to be able to kind of change between tasks. And so what they did is they actually took, in this very small study, they took 2 women. 2 women, they actually dehydrated them. And the only way they did it, they just basically said, don't drink water throughout the day. But they dehydrated their body by about 1%. And so that 1%, if you think about it, is going to end up being, like I'm 195, right? So 1% would be 1.95 pounds. If you're someone who's 160, 1.6, right? But just not drinking throughout a day or holding yourself back from actually drinking can end up keeping you underhydrated or dehydrated, and it can affect your mind or your cognitive flexibility. Now, in this one study, what they did is they looked at a card game, And in this card game, what they had were rules that kept changing. And what they found is that when the women were underhydrated or dehydrated, that they actually made 12% more errors than when they were actually hydrated. That's only 1%. What we also know in the athletic world is that usually losing when we get to about 2% of your overall weight, so that's going to be closer to about 3 pounds now. 195, I think it's going to be 3.2, right, if I'm doing that math right. And I think if you're closer to 160, I think it's going to be maybe 3.2 or just at least close to 3 pounds. And remember, I can lose about 3 pounds in a very heavy workout, and I know that we've done hydration studies at the gym as well, and that's been something we've seen in a lot of people. And so if people end up losing about 1 to 2% of their overall body weight, they can start to have that challenge with their cognitive flexibility. How can that impact you? That's going to impact you, say, if you are someone who is having to read defenses, if you actually are in sport right now. Maybe you're choosing a club on a golf course. You choose the wrong club. You can't read the green as well. Maybe your form is going to suffer. So if you're lifting, if you're trying to become a stronger person, your form is not really going to be able to get to the point where it needs to for, say, overall muscle growth. You just want to make sure that you're thinking about how it's going to be if you're given rules from a coach, or maybe even at work. If you're underhydrated at work and you start taking in a lot of other rules, maybe you're getting calls, you have to change tasks in the moment. That can actually reduce your overall performance. So we want to keep you very awake and aware. And if you are underhydrated, it's not going to help. How can you do that? You know your hydrating fluids. You know how to set a hydration schedule. You know how much you need during that hydration schedule, and you can help yourself out. That's actually just what I want to make sure that you are aware of. Hydration, early and often. Get it done. Performance is gonna stay up. All right, guys. Anyway, take care.